Hey guys, it's Kathy. Happy Wednesday. Today we're drawing butterflies again. I'm not calling this non-dominant hand drawing anymore because it's dominant hand drawing now. And I've been doing butterflies this week. I've still been doing lives regular, but today I'm going to draw some butterflies. And it's fun. I've been keeping this up, and it's been a lot of fun. And last night I did a bunch of art. I did these two butterflies. I've just been having a good time, like playing around, loosening up, and doing some art just for the fun of it. And it's really great. It's been really fun. I've been really exploring butterflies, and it's been a good time, I have to say. Very, very happy, having a good time with this. I'm just trying to get sorry about that. Trying to get my little camera thing up here. So we're going to draw some butterflies today. So here's some that I did last night. These are mixed media, and I used paint, and I used Neocolor 2 pastels with water, some acrylic paint, and some ink on both of these. And yesterday I did some Neocolor on little watercolor paper, and then the day before that we did some different style butterfly, and actually these were moths, but today we're going to do butterflies. So I just printed out, I've been testing out my printer, trying to get it working because been having some printer issues, and I've basically, when my printer stops working and is not being nice to me, I can ignore it. I can get into the mode where I'm just ignoring my printer, and it's not too hard for me to do that because I use an outside printer for art prints, so I don't necessarily need my printer. So, which is good because I get very stressed out if I can't get good prints with my printer. If I have to, if I'm actually selling them myself, it's very nerve-wracking, and that's part of the reason why I decided to just start using an outside printer. And I actually found a really good one that is in upstate New York, and they've been around for a really long time, and it's a family-owned and family-run business. And so I've been using them. They're called I Print From Home, and they have been great so far. So really happy with them, and I don't really see a need to go back to printing my own art prints when I can have a trusty and reliable professional printer who can do giclée prints and inkjet prints, and which is kind of the same thing, but different dots, I guess, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so just to let you know, I do not always see, hey Jane, hey Marielle, hey, meaningful colors, yay. Yeah, so what was I saying? I get very anxiety ridden if my printer is not working and I need it for work, which makes sense. So it's just really difficult because printers can be very moody. And I have an Epson SureColor P400, which makes beautiful prints when it's working correctly, but it's been fussy, and I'm just really, I just don't have a lot of patience with my printer when it gets fussy. So I just decided to work with an off-site printer, and they do print on demand. They do one, they'll drop ship for you, and they'll do, one art print and they have lots of different options, and they have beautiful papers, and you know, so why not? And it's not very expensive. Like when you think about, you know, the cost of a good print, it's worth it. It's worth it for my sanity, you know what I mean? So that's what I've been doing. But I do really want to get my printer working. So I did like a nozzle head cleaning today. I just ran it, and it eats up a lot of ink, which I get. That's just the way it works. But oh my gosh, I always keep backup ink, you guys. And sadly, very sadly, I don't know where I put my ink. So usually I'm just going to color this in, and then I think I'm going to paint the white parts. I'm doing this guy right here. Yeah, just loose, just going loose. But I did use a tiny tip. I used this, it's the Tradio, what is it? Pentel Tradio, I think. And, I really like this pen. I really like it. It's kind of a cross between it's kind of like, it kind of feels like a fountain pen, but it's not. The tip is flat and triangular like that. And I believe there's an inkwell in here. So it actually has liquid ink. It's not just a bunch of, it's not just a big felt, you know, thing with that's saturated. It's actually ink, so it's a really nice pen. Yeah. So Jane, oh my god, printer problems, right? Hey Sarah, hey Yats, hey guys, thanks for popping in. Yeah, so my printer is giving me grief, but it's okay, you know, I'm used to that. And I have another printer. I mean, I have a outside printer that I use. But you guys, I always buy extra ink, and the ink cartridges are expensive, right? They're like, my ink cartridges for my printer are probably like $20 a piece. And I usually keep a good bunch around because running out of ink when you desperately need it is just, oh, this is not working for me. I need to do longer strokes. Yeah, it's not good. And I just kind of tore this place apart for about an hour, looking for it. And, I have no idea where I put my ink. I usually keep it in a specific spot, and it's not there. So that's that. And, I'm probably going to continue to look for it. I'm going to go in with a Neocolor. This is a Neocolor 2, but you know what? I think I keep my Neocolor 1s in a little container. I keep my Neocolor 1s in here because I usually use the 2s. But I do have a small selection of 1s. 1s are the non-water soluble, and 2s are water soluble. And that's what I was using when I did these last night. So I colored them in with the 2s, and then I used a big brush. I used this paintbrush and just watered it. And then this is acrylic paint. Anyway, I like how that one came out. That was fun. Any Hoosers. So yeah. So I think I'll do a mix of, this is a 1 and this is a 2. And, you know, I could use water if I want to, but I don't know. I really love these crayons so much. They are just awesome. I've used them for years, and I love them. I love them very, very much because they're just so adaptable to whatever you want to use them, however you want to use them. I mean, these I think are the best of this type of pastel that I've ever used. And there are other ones that are similar, such as the oh my gosh, what are they called? Oh god, I'm drawing a blank. There are some that are similar but not exactly not exactly the same in terms of opacity and like density. So there are some that are more from different makers that are more emollient, that are just like more glidey, which can be nice, but they also are less pigmented. So that part is, can work to your advantage if you want things that are more translucent or transparent. But I like to have something that's more pigmented. For the most part, I use these more. They're just very useful in a variety of different ways. You know what I mean? So, but the ones are nice because they don't budge when you lay them down. So this Neocolor one, this is light gray, and this is not going to go anywhere once I put it down. However, the 2 does budge, and the 2s you can continue to work with later. Like I could pick this up in 4 days and start working on it again, and I could add some water, and you get the gist. So it sets, but you still could use it. It doesn't like set forever, you know what I mean? You could always sort of pick it back up if you wanted to. So anyway, that's the scoop. So I'm probably just gonna tear up my house some more later looking for that ink, but a little at a time, because I have other things I have to do, and the printer really is not the huge priority right now. But somehow I just got it in me that I just needed I just needed to find my ink, because I wanted to print out some pictures to draw today. So I got these from a royalty-free website. It is, hold on a second, what's it called again? I forgot the name of it, but if I remember the name, which I will remember later, I will put it in the description of this once it goes up. Once it goes up on my profile, I'll edit it later. So anyway, I'm just really freestyling today. I had some grand ideas, and I couldn't really decide what I was going to do, and then I got tied up doing some other stuff. But I'll tell you what, like, I am really enjoying staying consistent on doing lives, even though like sometimes I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Like that's okay. That's okay. It's a good process for me. It's good to, it's actually really good to just keep up a really immediate art practice in this way, whether or not I have a plan in place or whether I pick up from what I was doing the day before, whatever. And I've been doing a lot more art. Like I have definitely been staying true to this being like my art being a huge priority, to actually be creative, like to make art every day, to draw regularly, and not just have it be like a means to an end, which it isn't. Like, okay, it is my passion, but you can sort of fall into this when art is your career, you know what I mean? So you can kind of fall into, like anything, it needs managing, your own, our brains, our brains need managing, guys, right? We have to manage ourselves, and I need to manage my joy and manage things that make me happy, and not, and make sure to make just the sort of experimentation and the art for art's sake part just a big focus, because it's important, to just not think about the outcome and not worry about that stuff, and just just create to exercise your creative muscles, you know? So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. What I did last night with those butterflies that I did, and to really not worry about it not being like, you know, something that you want to put in a frame, you know, to just create, to experiment, and to have fun. I was watching, or listening rather, to Elisa Burke's video on YouTube last night while I was doing one of my butterflies, and I just love her. I love her philosophy. I love how she thinks about art, and how she exercises that creative muscle every day in the tiniest of ways, and how she doesn't, how she makes it a practice to have exercises to not put that pressure on herself. Like, she gives herself a time limit. I mean, I think a lot of people do that. And I've always had a little bit of trouble with the time limit thing. So, because I could just get lost in the same thing for hours, you know, and I can just, quite honestly, like, I almost was like, I want to wreck something today. Like, maybe because I just like to go back into stuff and rework it and redo it and layer on it and do all kinds of different things to it. But I think it's probably a good practice for me to just, you know, do something and then it's done. Okay, goodbye, you know, start something new. That is a practice for me, because I have a tendency to like to, you know, work on something and overpaint it and do different work on top. And that's part of the fun of, like, that's part of my art, but also it's good to just sort of get out of the things that you usually do sometimes too, you know, and do different things. Like leave it alone and start something new, like that. So anyway, what else? We're supposed to have snow on Saturday, which I do like snow, but as people who are homeowners and take care of property, now we have to worry about, we have a elderly home, like an elderly apartment complex down the street, and we're always worried about making sure that, you know, the streets are clear. So, you know, we have a shoveler company, a guy, you know, who brings his crew and shovels when it gets snowy. And you know, what was her name? Elisa Burke, Alisa, Elisa, like Lisa with an A on the front, and then Burke. She does, she has a YouTube channel. She has classes. For me, I feel like she's kind of a pioneer in the online art class space. Like, she has been offering classes for a very, very long time, and she has them all on her own website. And she also, another reason to love her, she has very affordable art classes, and she makes it accessible, and she has sales where you can get, you know, bundles of classes. And she also sells, now I'm just an advertisement for Elisa Burke, but she's awesome. She also makes, you know, her own hand-painted products and goods, and she has sales. She, you know, has drops and then sells those, and that happens a lot during the holidays. Sometimes she will, like, paint journals, like covers of journals, and sell those, and they're beautiful. I really like her philosophy. I like her I like her work. I like how she thinks about creativity and how she adds it to her life. She does a lot of environmental, and I don't mean like, well, I mean probably also environmental, but she does environmental spaces. Like she'll paint her wall in her bedroom, or she'll paint, she's done her porch, you know, in just like all flowers and stuff like that. So yeah, she just does really fun stuff. I really enjoy her content. And she has a really good video on her Instagram that's about not being on Instagram, and about you know, picking where you're gonna put your focus, and then putting your focus there, or just like committing to, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but go watch it if you ever have, you know, mixed feelings about Instagram, which I do, okay? Because I love Instagram, and Instagram was my first favorite, you know, social media place, and it's like growth here is just kind of impossible, you know what I mean? So I feel like my content doesn't get shown to anybody. Or a lot, no, of course it gets shown to people because you guys are here, thank you, but you know what I mean? Like most people don't see any of my stuff, and yet I still come back here, and I mean, obviously I'm still invested because I'm driven by my emotions very much, you know, and by like what I'm passionate about, and you know, I get to do art here, and you know, so I have like a kind of an emotional connection to it, and unfortunately, like that's probably what, you know, what they sort of rely on is that, well, because we're still here, you know, and I still do love it, but I also feel like I need to put my energy somewhere where, you know, more people can find me and appreciate what I do. And I did find that with YouTube, because I love YouTube. I love YouTube, and yeah, I love YouTube as well, and I love to make videos on YouTube, and I will continue to do that, but my programming over there is definitely going to shift a little bit to more creative exploration and experimentation, like I've been doing over here. So that's kind of the gist of it, you know. Yep, so I'm just rambling. This is it. This is the rambling show. This is the art rambling show with Kathy. And you can pretty much rely on the fact that I will just ramble the entire time we're here. I didn't ramble yesterday because I was very busy sharing details about what I was doing and the materials and all that. But today, I'm just rambling. That's basically it. So I think part of why I like to go back into stuff is just into artworks that I've, you know, that could be considered finished, is because I was a painting major and I did a lot of layering in school. And it just kind of got ingrained in my work. I very purposely did not go to school for illustration. And I feel like I always felt like I was going to have plenty of time for the illustration life later. And there was really only that moment when I was in school that was going to allow me to be more experimental, and to not get caught up in, you know, the rat race, and to just let myself explore and have that be what my focus was in art school. And so I did that, and it actually really affected, I mean, I did go into, you know, illustration and design for my career, but painting has just, the practice and the lessons that I became embedded in me, you know, just stayed with me, obviously. Obviously. So that's a good thing. I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I gave myself that sort of freedom to do that. So we are coming up at 1:27. It's so competitive, I know. You mean illustration and design? Yes, for sure. For sure it is. Agree. Agreed. For sure. I worked for a few different companies, and I also, you know, throughout my career doing design and illustration. And I also did some contract work and freelance stuff. But, you know, my heart's always been, you know, illustration and artwork. Design, I feel like I was a designer for so many years, you guys, and I just was like, I get by. You know what I mean? Like, I get by. I'm okay at it. You know, the cool thing about being a designer was, you know, having to exercise muscles that otherwise I would just be really lazy about exercising. And so I got a lot out of being a designer, like working full time being a designer. I got a lot out of that actually helped me in my art career, from, you know, staying up to date on the latest software knowledge, you know, to learning software, to learning and working in marketing and sales and advertising, and, you know, all these different little muscles that I got to exercise that, you know, I wouldn't have been exercising if I was working for myself only and not working for another company while I was doing my own thing. So that really helped me a whole lot. And I actually have a video on YouTube about keeping your day job while you're working on your dream job. And if you need a pep talk, definitely go check that video out. There's a couple of them. There's another one that's 3 ways that your day job can help your dream job. So, because you got to make your day job work for you. Just like some people say, and it's true, if you're on Etsy, you got to make Etsy work for you. You make your day job work for you. If you are an artist and you are in a day job, and actually, I mean, it kind of, I mean, you could make your day job work for you even if you're working in a non-creative, traditionally non-creative, not thought of as creative job. Like, say creative in terms of like art, like say you're in retail, say you're at Starbucks, working at Starbucks, whatever you're doing, like there are ways to make it work for you. Oh my gosh, Sarah, yes, staying up to date is so hard. And for so many years, it's like, it's so cool to just know that, to have that in my pocket, like, okay, I'm getting paid at my day job to stay up to date on this stuff that otherwise it's, you know, I mean, otherwise, like a lot of the stuff I probably wouldn't
have used, but because I knew how to use it, even if I didn't like it, you know, like even if it's like a creative software that I didn't particularly enjoy using, like the skill of knowing how to use it and being able to use it when needed, because a lot of things just like you need to, things work hand in hand together, you know, like sometimes you have to use both Illustrator and Photoshop at the same time. Sometimes you have to use InDesign and Illustrator, you know, and just being forced to know what I was doing or learn what I was doing, even no matter how miserable it made me to do that, was like a good thing, because it definitely does open up little pathways in your brain, and it just makes you more marketable, and it makes you, you know, able to do more types of work. If you're doing contract work or freelance or whatever, it's just like the more tools you have in your little tool belt there, the better off you are, even if you don't always enjoy it, you know, because do we not all have our favorite between Illustrator and Photoshop? I learned on Photoshop, and for so much of my career as an artist, I couldn't stand Illustrator, but I had to use it, and you learn. You really learn, and now I don't hate it at all. It's just not what I usually need to use, but you know, I think I metamorphosized into somebody who, you know, was a decent user of Illustrator. Like I totally could figure out what I needed, and I could figure out more than what I needed, just because you get to know the program so well, and then you get to know, you know, the 10 different ways to do one thing so well. And I ended up learning how to learning Illustrator far better than I ever thought that I would, and not hating it. I do, however, kind of hate InDesign, but I did have to use it. Like I did have to use it. You know, not so much. Well, it didn't exist in the early part of my career, but I don't think it did. Or did it? I don't think it did. I think it came out. Anyway, I stopped. I got laid off in 2015, and I had already been doing my own work for so many years, and I had already, you know, built up my career as I had been doing licensing and other stuff for years by that point, and I was absolutely fine. I was like, right, great, you know, because it's hard to let go even when you know you are ready to, you never really, you know, sometimes I was ready before I did. I mean, I was ready to leave before I got laid off. Like I never quit, but getting laid off was fine. So I only use Photoshop. I find Illustrator so difficult to use. Yes. It's a different world, but it's just like a different brain space. But once, I mean, I had to kind of force myself to do it for my work, but it's fine. It's just like a different, like, I don't hate it anymore. I don't hate it anymore, but I don't work in it. Like I work in Photoshop or on paper or in Procreate, and then I vectorize stuff later. So I don't like create native vector art. Like that's not my style. I have done that, but you know, when I was way back, I have done that, but that was never my like own native to my own brain. You know what I mean? Like Photoshop is native to my brain. So I love Illustrator. Photoshop is a necessity, but I'll do as much as I can in Illustrator. Okay, Sarah, so you're an Illustrator gal, huh? Sorry, I'm just reading. I'm reading some comments here. Yeah, so Yeah, it's really just like the way that you think, right? It's like, is it what you learned on? Because, I mean, Sarah, did you learn on Illustrator, or did you learn on Photoshop? Anyway, so that's just another question. So it is now 1:57. Do I ever try to match AI brushes with Procreate? No, I don't. My brushes that I have, and I actually I don't use Illustrator in the way that I create artwork native in it, but I create native artwork in Photoshop, and I use Kyle brushes. So I have like a ton of Kyle Webster brushes in Photoshop, and those are what I use in Photoshop. And I honestly have not even like updated them in years, in probably like several years. But I have like and now he's with Adobe, I think. So now I think you can get his stuff through Adobe if you have an Adobe membership, but because he now has a partnership with them, I think. But at the time that I bought like so many, I bought like one of his gigantic sets, and I just still use them. I love them. I have my favorites, and so that's what I use. Kyle brushes. I know I have some for Illustrator, some like third-party brushes, but I don't use Illustrator that way. I usually, when I'm in Illustrator, it's usually what I'm doing in Illustrator is I am adapting a piece of artwork to vector, and I'm cleaning it up, and I'm making it I'm fixing it so it's going to look great on a t-shirt or something. So, or, for printing purposes. So I'm going into printing settings. I'm, updating all of my paths and everything. Like I image trace, and then I am just cleaning it up. So that's usually all I do in Illustrator now. Learned on both. Illustrator always made more sense to me. Yeah, I totally think that makes sense. I couldn't stand Illustrator in the beginning, but now I'm okay with it. Now it's just InDesign that bends my brain so much. Stored designs. I'm an Illustrator gal, but lately I've been making patterns by hand, pen and ink, and scanning in. I love to do that. I mean, that's really I really like Procreate too, but I want to draw more. I draw a lot in my sketchbook. So sometimes, and this is what I like to do, also have like a tiny, teeny little sketchbook, because these are great for when you have a mental block and you need to like stay creative no matter what. It's good to just like have something like this with you, and then it forces you to remove boundaries, like creative boundaries. Anyway, that's my tip for the day. Keep a little sketchbook like that. All right, so gosh, I hate to leave you guys, but I'm gonna hang it up now, because I don't like these to run too long, because I like to respect your time, and I like to make this time count and make it meaningful in some way. So instead of just being on here and laughing away. So here's what we did today, little butterfly. And I'm probably going to take tomorrow off, but I will be back again this week, probably Friday, with another 1:00 art live stream. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye.